Chapter 24. It would all come out now. I turned to Ajori. I had to. I didn't want to. Ivy was still yelling at the serving maid.
You ninny! See what you've done!
She would blame me and send me to prison. Mother and father would lose the feather bed. I felt the tears come. Ivy cried, "Oh!" in a surprised voice. Then,
"Oh, I forgot to sing. I'll resume."
She looked at me, and then she must have noticed the quality of the silence. After a moment's pause, she shrilled,
"I'm sick of singing Aortheans. Every day I have a headache. Mascara wouldn't want me to have headaches."
She gathered herself and announced,
"From now on there will be no more sings in Aortha, and no more singing in the castle."
She ran off the stage and out of the hall. Uju began to follow her, then thought better of it. The other guards didn't move. I let go of Ajori's hand and rushed after her. I had to apologize for continuing to sing. I had to beg her to take pity on mother and father. She heard me behind her. She whirled and screamed,
"Bungler! Monster!"
"Your Majesty, please!"
"Go away, fright!"
She started running again.
"Leave me alone, horror!"
I stopped and turned around. Ajori was in the doorway of the Hall of Song. I went to him and we stepped back inside. Everyone had crowded into the space between the stage and the seats. They were talking or shouting or singing. Several people saying that they'd never stop singing. Others wondered what magic Ivy had performed to both sing and speak at once. Sir Ulu's voice sliced through the hubbub. He sang, "Will the other members of the council come with me? Lady Azza, please come." He turned. "Bailiff?" The bailiff, a gray-haired, stocky man, swam through the crowd. "Master Ebb," Sir Ulu said, "please come too." I wondered if the bailiff was for Ivy, or for me, or for both of us. Princess Eleni and Master Ogusu, a music illuminator, joined us. Master Ogusu was the commoner on the council. The choir master and the prince were also members, and the queen made the council complete. A scullery maid began the first line of the Song of Aortha. Everyone joined in, singing with the spirit that had been lacking all night. They were singing as we left. Uchu stopped licking up spilled meat and loped after us. The bailiff's pike clanged against the tile floor with each step he took. I felt the clanging in my bones. Ajori walked next to me. I wanted to explain before Ivy started lying. I didn't want to sing for her. I tried to refuse. "Sweet Lady Azza, what do you mean you sang for her?" Sir Ulu said, "All will be explained very soon. Lady Azza, please wait." I was afraid to wait, but I said no more. Princess Eleni looked around the echoing corridor. "How could she have taken our birds? They never hurt her." No one answered. Ajori touched my arm. He asked Sir Ulu, "Why do you need Lady Azza?" The choir master only said, "Soon." He knew everything. My steps flagged. He said, "Come, Lady Azza." We reached the royal wing of the castle. As we approached Ivy's door, it flew open. Uchu ran ahead. The rest of us stopped.
"Finally!"
Ivy appeared in the doorway and saw us. She edged away from Uchu and drew herself up.
"Oh, I didn't call for you, but the bailiff and Prince Ajori may stay."
Sir Ulu continued toward her, singing, "Your Majesty issued a command tonight that will never be obeyed." Her voice rose.
"Don't sing at me! Bailiff, I want my guards."
Master Ebb said, "Your Majesty." Sir Ulu cut him off. "There is much to be spoken of before we speak of guards." He swept past her into her chambers. We followed. Ivy stood defiantly in the center of the room. Ajori remained with me just inside the door. The only light came from 2 candles and sconces over the dressing table. I noticed that Skolny was on the dressing table. Sir Ulu began to light a lamp on the mantelpiece.
"How dare you! I don't want a light!"
He ignored her and won the upper hand. The defiance went out of her stance, and she became disarmingly fragile. I wished I could do that. She looked piteous, and I was going to need pity. With the change in Ivy, much of the tension left the chamber. Princess Eleni and Master Ogusu seated themselves, she in the easy chair, he on the ottoman. I sat on a stool at the foot of the bed. Ajori stood over me protectively. Uchu rested her head in my lap. Sir Ulu rocked back on his heels and folded his arms. "Your Majesty, Lady Azza has been singing for you. Am I correct?" Ijori took a step away from me, so quickly, so readily.
Yes.
Ivy's voice was small and childlike. She sat on the bench by the fireplace and looked up at him.
You found her out? Yes.
Found me out? Master Augusto said. Singing for someone? What chicanery is this? I suspect, Sir Ulu said, that our queen's voice is worse than mediocre.
No one here would like it,
Ivy said in the same small voice.
But in other kingdoms they might.
Princess Eleni said, How do you sing for someone, Lady Arthur? I put my hand in front of my face. My throat closed. Sir Ulu went to Ivy's washstand and poured a tumbler of water from the pitcher. Here. I drank. I call it a losing. Ijori sang, Did Her Majesty command you to do it? I nodded. She threatened to close the feather bed and throw me in prison.
She's lying,
Ivy said.
She said she'd sing for me if I'd make her my lady-in-waiting. That's what she really said.
It sounded so true. Obvious, even. Sir Ulu turned to the bailiff. Master Ebb, we have need of several guards. For me. Master Ebb bowed to Sir Ulu and left. How do you do your losing? Ijori said. His voice softened. He changed his mind. Don't lie. I never wanted to lie. I swallowed back tears and described my losing. Master Augusto asked Sir Ulu, Is this possible? Show us, Sir Ulu said. Wait. The tears came. I couldn't allude and weep at the same time. I sipped more water. Ivy said,
She showed me right after my Oscaro. After my lord.
I placed the tumbler on the floor. Princess Eleni jumped as I allused in her speaking voice. Aza hated tricking people. Uchu raised her head and barked. The princess said, I didn't say that. Ijori said, Then why didn't you tell me? I deepened my voice to imitate Master Augusto. Aza was frightened. Master Augusto sang, This is astonishing. How do you do it? Princess Eleni asked. I shook my head, too distressed to answer. They waited. Finally I said, I'm not sure. I paused. It started with the hiccups. While I was explaining, Master Ebb returned with 3 guards. One stood at the door of the chamber, one at the door of the wardrobe closet, and the king's empty bedchamber, and one loomed over me. The council members tried to alluse, all except Ijori, who went to the window and stared out into the night. I wished I could alluse words into his mouth and make him mean them. Words like, I believe you. Words like, I know you too well to think you'd enjoy duping people. Words like, dear heart, sweet, love. He said, Uju, come. She went to him, wagging her tail. He patted her head. She licked his hand and then returned to me and curled up at my feet. A dog could judge a Stumo. I can't alluse, Master Augusto said, giving up. My throat must be arranged differently from hers. Princess Eleni said, Even if Lady Aza sang for Her Majesty tonight, Queen Ivy herself commanded us not to sing.
She told me to,
Ivy said, glaring at me.
She said that if we were ever found out, I should distract everyone by ordering them not to sing.
I never spoke of her being found out. Ijori's back was to the room, but I saw him watch my reflection in the window. I sang, I'm an innkeeper's daughter, and honest in the feather bed, no rooms for deceivers. I don't believe Her Majesty was blameless, Sir Ulu said. She was weak, certainly, and
I was powerful,
and her judgment was poor. However, a pernicious influence was at work, which even a stronger mind couldn't resist. His gaze shifted to Ijori. What influence? Princess Eleni asked. Whose influence? I wondered if Sir Ulu had identified the advisor he sometimes spoke of. I can now explain both the losing and the extraordinary rise to prominence of an innkeeper's daughter. My heart rose into my throat.
Lady Aza's voice has power and range beyond anything I've heard.
He looked in turn at Master Augusto, Princess Eleni, and Ajori.
What quality do several of the best singers in Eorthean history share?
Ajori looked blank, then shook his head vehemently. Princess Eleni said, "Oh!" in a shocked voice. Master Augusto said,
You mean?
Sir Ulu nodded.
They had a drop or two of ogre blood in their veins.
I felt as if I was falling. I remembered the library keeper singing about Queen Amba, that she had a marvelous voice, and people thought she was an ogre's great-granddaughter. Sir Ulu was still speaking.
Lady Aza, I suspect, has more than a few drops of ogre blood. She may be an ogre's first cousin. I had only to hear her and look at her to think it.